I'm so happy to see you again. This is Cheryl McLaughlin, and last time I talked to you, we were making these little organic containers. Now, I was in the store the other day, and I was amazed how these little containers are selling in most of the grocery stores in early spring, but you'll pay $4, $5, $6 for a group of little containers. But I'm going to show you how you can make these and grow all your plants from seed without having to spend any money on containers, just using old newspaper. I want to show you what you're going to need in order to fill these little containers now that you have these made. And just so you know, I make a whole bunch of these. So this is something when on those snowy days or whatever with children, just make a whole bunch of these depending on, for all your plants, you can do that. So once you have a bunch of these made, then you need to go to the store and get this. It cannot be potting soil. It has to be seed starting potting mix, and it has to have these two words in it: seed starter. It's a seed starting potting mix. This is really important. And I just found some of this big of bag, and it's anyway, it's 8 quarts. It's 8 dry quarts, and it was about $3. So between $3 and $4, you're going to get this. And it doesn't look like much, and it's actually pretty lightweight, but it goes a long ways. You'll get a lot of these little containers filled with this. The other thing is you need to have some kind of a tray. And I just find little leftover lids that I'm not using in my home. And see, once we fill these up, we're going to put them on these little trays. Another thing you're going to need is a bowl. Any kind of a bowl. You can use mixing bowl, whatever. Or just go to a thrift store and get an old bowl if you don't want to use any of your nice bowls. And then you need to have something like a little pointed object. You can use a little piece of a scissor, or you can find a little stick or something, and I'll show you what you're going to do with that in a minute. You need one more thing, and I'll get it in just a second. And the surprise ingredient is water. You have to have water. And what we're going to do is I just went ahead and opened this bag. Okay, and I'll set this over here. And then I put a bunch of this potting soil. It's super lightweight, and it has lots of extra nutrients and everything. It's definitely designed to help these little seeds be able to grow. So the soil is not like clay. It's not dense. It's very lightweight, has lots of air, and for these little seeds to breathe, and the nutrients and all that. So once you put some of this in here, then I'm going to get my water, and I just dump a bunch of water in here, and you can keep dumping a little bit at a time. And then if you don't really want your hands to get dirty, you can use latex gloves, but it really feels good to feel the soil and just feel what these little seedlings are going to feel. And you just start mixing it around. It's super lightweight, and you have to get this soil completely sopping wet. Well, not sopping wet, but it has to be really very moist. And I'm just going to keep working that in. So this is actually, besides making these little containers, this whole thing can be done inside your home on a kitchen table. You really can keep down the mess and everything. And then if you do find something big like that, just toss it. Oops. And but this soil has to be completely wet and nice and moist before you can do anything else. And again, if you find anything really crazy, you can throw it out. Okay, so once it's really nice and moist, and look how easy this is. Any child would just love to be part of this. Then, when you are ready, and you don't do this whole process until you're ready to put a little seed in here, but once you're ready to start planting something, I just take some of this stuff and I just dump it right in here in my little pot. And it doesn't have to be filled up, like about that much. And it's just lightweight, and you don't pack it hard or anything. It's just kind of sitting there like that. And so what I do is I do this for a whole bunch, at least, depending on how many seeds. But honestly, you will save yourself so much money if you learn how to grow seeds. Grow plants from seeds. Because if you wait until May, you'll just go get the plant. It'll be all nice and big, and you pay so much more than if you'll take the time. And it does take some time babysitting these little plants. Okay, now that I have done a whole bunch of these, And let's just pretend like I filled up an entire tray. Then I'm going to start doing seeds. Now you need to learn what is going to be your crop that you want to do. And lots of times you need to kind of be familiar with what things can go into the ground immediately, or that you just want to help get a start, and you're going to start inside your house until they get to be even about, you know, lots of times I'll even get them just 1 or 2 inches above this little tray, and then I'll go ahead and put it in the ground. But it's just a jump start into the garden. So this one, we're going to go ahead and do Swiss chard. This is an early spring crop. So this is the Swiss chard. Now, see, this Swiss chard is actually kind of large. These are big, nice big seeds. Okay, so what I do is I take a sharp object, and again, I just have my scissors sitting here, so I'm just going to use that. You get to kind of feel like a surgeon. So all you're going to do is just make a little tiny hole in this dirt. And again, when we do thousands of these. And so I have somebody, and they just it's kind of tedious work if you're going to do a ton. But you go ahead and you just put 1 seed in there, and then you just go ahead and cover it up. And it's not a deep hole. Generally, if the seed is that big, you're going to cover it at least double the amount of dirt on top. So, I mean, you know, this is not going to be covered more than 1/4 of an inch. And it just goes like that. And again, lots of times I'll make just a bunch of holes in the entire tray. I'll just do that one step, you know, and just do a hole until all these are done. And then all in one shot, I go and put the seed. That way you don't have to say, did I put a seed in there, or was that not one that was done? So you want to kind of remember that. Okay, now that we have our little seedlings in here, and let's just say we have an entire tray, or however much you want, you need to mark so you actually know what is growing in this tray. So you can either have something like this that sits in here, and in any particular tray I like to have all the same thing, so I really do know what is growing in these little seeds, okay, or in these little packet things. So you can put this, or just put a piece of paper and, you know, just say this is all Swiss chard, but somehow make sure you mark this. Then once this is marked, let's just say it's here somewhere, then you need to put some type of saran wrap, and I just have this little plastic thing, and we're going to cover this like this. Now for the first week, while these are still incubating and they're inside, they're not coming up yet, they haven't sprouted, you can put these on top of a refrigerator or a freezer, or lots of times I'll use a heating pad, and it doesn't need any light at this point, but it needs warmth. It needs warmth, and it's got to stay nice and moist. So I will take these, definitely keep these in the house, and again, put them on a heating pad on low, or just anything like that, and you're just going to let them sit there with this plastic on, and you're going to do that for about a week until they start to sprout. These are going to be, they need to be watered. So every day you can even check on them, and you need to get a little water bottle like this, and, well, anyway, just make sure it's not the hard spray that comes out, that it's just kind of the one that scatters, so you don't kill these plants. And you will just spray them very gently. These are really delicate little plants right now. And you'll just go ahead and spray them like that. Make sure they're nice and moist. Put the saran wrap back on. Keep them nice and warm on that heating pad or whatever. And they're good to go like that for about a week. Okay, after about a week, or when you start to see them breaking through the soil, you need to take this plastic off. And this is when they are going to need sun. So if you have some place in your home that has a south-facing window, and you can put this entire tray that is all filled with these little things and put them in the window, they have got to have some sunlight. Now I have a nice big greenhouse, and so about that point I would bring them out into the greenhouse, and I'll definitely take off this when they start to sprout out. And again, every day, make sure they're getting lots of moisture, and just come out and spray them with the little spray bottle. And just remember, they need sunlight once they start to poke their little heads out. Okay, so we've had these little seedlings in our home, nice and warm, and they're starting to sprout and they're getting big. So I wait for them to come up at least an inch. Remember, those roots are starting to get deep, so you don't want to leave these in these containers for very long. So really, you know, after about an inch above the container, you can start to put these out in the garden. And when you put them out, I would have prepared my soil and just made sure there's not any hard clumps. And again, you can wear little work gloves with this. So you have that, and then you want to make sure you put a bunch of water in there. So I want to make sure my soil's nice and moist. Again, water is really key, and soil preparation. I've been preparing my soil and everything. And then the beautiful thing about these little containers is you just go ahead and stick the entire container of this cute little plant, and you put it right there. And then don't have any big balls of clots. It should be really pretty nice soil. And you're just gonna surround that. And you're going to put it in the ground, and then again keep watering these, and they will continue to grow, and you're going to have a whole bunch of Swiss chard in the spring. And here's my beautiful Swiss chard just coming up.